Corey, when you look at society, do you ever think that Loki is behind all of the chaos, or at least enjoying it? Or is he still tied up with venom being dripped on him? So, one thing, and we've explained this on past episodes, and I know it's a difficult concept, but we believe very much that mythic time and linear or historical time are two very different things. So mythic time is very often cyclical and overlapping. And I know that that's hard to understand if it's not something that you're used to. But we believe that the events in our myth cycle have happened, will happen, and are happening simultaneously. So yes, it's hard to say. I think that Loki, being a force of chaos like he is, I'm sure that he does find chaos to be pleasing to him. And I think that he finds, in a lot of ways, detriment of our folk to be pleasing to him. I honestly have to say that I haven't given much thought to things that Loki likes or doesn't like, because we stand in opposition to Loki and his. I don't think that he is behind all of the chaos or responsible for the chaos. I think there's plenty of malevolent forces causing chaos, and the vast majority of those aren't spiritual entities. I think chaos is a natural state that exists if you don't stay beyond it and stay ahead of it. That's why I think entropy is one of the biggest problems that our gods and our folk try to overcome. I think entropy is that force that drags order down into chaos perpetually, unless we're striving and trying to succeed, trying to move forward, trying to move upward. As soon as we stop, we get pulled down and we get pulled back. And so I think that there's a lot going on that makes the world chaotic. And I don't think it's all, some grand Loki plan. I don't think it quite works like that. Our understanding of the world isn't quite as binary as, our gods, and then Loki being, our version of the devil. It's not quite that simple. Freyr asks, how does the AFA view Freya and Frigga being the same? I'm a Frigga devotee. Through my practice, I think I found that Freya is for short-term relationships and Frigga is long-term. Your thoughts? I don't think that Freya and Frigga are the same. I think that they have very different energy on those kind of things. Some of this is fundamentally how the AFA views our gods compared to perhaps how some other folks do. The people that I've heard that think that Frigga and Freya are the same tend to do that from a linguistic or a scholarly background, because some ancient texts merged the two, or some linguistic variant. And that's not how I know our gods and goddesses. That's helpful, and that gives us a place to start. But building relationships with our gods and goddesses through worship over time and through being in that gift cycle, you get to interact with them in a personal way. They're not a math problem to solve with enough, nerd study. You're going to somehow unravel the mystery. It's something that you build a relationship through the exchange of gifts and the exchange of energy. I think that Freya tends to be more so there's a concept in Aryan mythos in general of horse goddesses and of cow goddesses. And meaning the horse goddess is more wild and untamed, and represents the unmarried women and women in a more raw elemental context, often a more sexual context. And the cow goddesses are goddesses that are more about the home and the hearth and the raising of children, and women in relationships as wife, as mother. And I think you see Freya and Frigga as exemplars of this dichotomy. But I don't think that those things don't overlap, and I don't believe that our gods or our goddesses are one-dimensional. Thor's not just strong; he's other stuff too. Freya's not just sex and magic; she's other things as well. So I don't view our gods as archetypes, and I don't view our gods as the result of linguistics. I view our gods as actual spirit persons. And one thing that, I will say, I understand that if we go back, there are undoubtedly, if we take all of the continental sources, all of the British Isles sources, all of the Scandinavian sources, I'm certain that there are some deities and some personages that overlap or that are a confusion of one or the other. But when practicing religion piously, I would much rather err on the side of worshiping two different aspects of a god as two separate things than mistakenly assuming that they're the same god and only worshiping one and excluding the other. At the end of the day, if one of our gods happens to be worshiped under two different names in two different ways, they still get that worship, and that relationship still exists. If I make the mistake and only worship the one and not the other, if I'm wrong, one of our gods doesn't get that worship that they're entitled to, and doesn't get that love and worship from their folk. And I would never want that to happen. I think it would be impious. So that's why we tend to err on the side of always assuming that they're distinct and different, even when sometimes that may or may not be the case. So